Pat Ritchie, Chief Executive of Newcastle City Council. Pat, the shelter trials have now come to an end. What is your reaction to what's gone on here?
Well, the first thing is to pay tribute to the young girls and women who came forward and told their story through these trials. It showed real bravery and courage to come forward and go through often harrowing trials to talk about what had happened to them. I think that we should pay tribute to the fact that they did that and made the city a safer place as a result.
At times like this, people look to their local authority to act. What's Newcastle City Council done?
Newcastle City Council has worked to ensure that these young women and girls were able to come forward and tell their story. As soon as it became clear about the issues in the city, we worked with the police to support women and girls to come forward and to tell us about what was happening with these crimes in the city. And as I said, that's not an easy thing to do, but we're very clear that we provided that support. We established a joint sexual exploitation unit with the police where women could come to a safe place and tell their story, and we've supported people to deal with the abuse that they've been subject to. We also disrupted activity that might lead to sexual exploitation. So, for example, working closely with the police, we revoked 25 taxi licences where we thought there might be evidence of abuse. We also have disrupted licensed premises where we thought that abuse was going on, and have worked hard to disrupt this sort of activity, which is just not acceptable in our city. And we'll continue to do that and to support anybody who comes forward having been subject to this sort of crime.
Later this year, a report will be published into what happened around Operation Sanctuary. Tell us a little bit about that.
That report is the subject of something called a serious case review. Now, basically what that means is that an independent person or team of people look at what happened, look at how the council reacted, how did the police support victims and bring forward people to justice. It looks at the role of health in the community, takes 8 cases in this case and looks at them in depth, and then informs us of whether we could have done anything differently, whether there's anything to learn for how we worked with these women and young girls through Operation Sanctuary. It's a very important independent inquiry that will help us learn lessons from these terrible crimes and work with people in the future to avoid any repeat of the extent of these crimes.
Sexual exploitation has been going on in Newcastle. A number of men have been convicted for those vile crimes. Could this still be happening in our city?
Well, I think the first thing to say is that this is happening in other cities across the UK and in other places. So what's happened in Newcastle is not unique, and I would argue that if you're not finding sexual exploitation, then you're not really looking hard enough. And we've worked with a number of places to learn from our experience, to support them to stop this happening in their places. The second thing that I would say is that it would be naive to think that as a result of these trials, sexual exploitation would be completely eradicated. I think that as a result of the trials, Newcastle is safer because a lot of these men will be off the streets, and therefore it will be a safer place. But having said that, we will not be complacent. We would encourage anybody who has been subject to this sort of abuse to come forward and talk to us. We will support you. We will support you to tell your story, and we'll support you to get out of the abusive relationship that you might be in. And you can be guaranteed that the council will listen to anybody who's been victim to this sort of crime. I would encourage you to look at our website. We've got dedicated pages on the website to tell you what to do to come forward, and we will listen to your story and we will support you.